Hi everyone, today we're continuing looking at how globalisation has affected culture, but we're going to have a specific look at sport. If you just pause for a moment and have a look at this picture on the screen, you'll see that there are a lot of people who are involved in sport across the world. Globalisation has changed the way that sport is viewed and played, and the main reasons that this has happened is due to increases in technology and increases in travel, which we've talked about before. Prior to globalisation, sports were only popular really in the nations that they were created in. So you had basketball, football and baseball in the US, and then soccer was in your European countries and cricket in Britain, but now those have expanded across the world. If you have a look at this map, it shows you the countries that were involved in the FIFA World Cup this year. And if you think about it, without globalisation, people wouldn't have been able to fly across the world to attend to the World Cup in Brazil. But also, a lot of these teams wouldn't have been international. They wouldn't have had the players that they have. And definitely us in Australia, we would not have been able to see the World Cup telecast as much as we did. So globalisation has allowed this global audience. We've got television, satellite, and the internet actually enable us to watch sport at any time during the day, and we can watch things that have been replayed or we can watch them live. A lot of your major sporting events are actually broadcast worldwide. So just have a look at the picture there. That's obviously a sport enthusiast who has a lot of satellite dishes attached to their house. Media plays a huge role in increasing sport, and it actually also influences the way that the game's played. And I didn't know this, but American football has been created to have that stop-go mentality so that companies can actually screen advertisements every 5 minutes, and they make a lot of money out of that. This has actually evolved, and throughout the world similar things are taking place. So sports have become more popular due to globalisation and just due to that massive broadcasting of sport. So if you have a look at on the picture on the right, that's our major broadcasters for the World Cup. So these big TNCs like BBC, they actually have to spend money and buy the broadcast rights to the sporting events. And this money then goes back to the organisations who run the sport and can be injected back into further growing the sport. So Walt Disney is a huge transnational corporation, and they own ABC and ESPN, and they had the rights to all the English language telecasts in the US this year. The amount of money that advertisers pay to have their advertisements screened during international sporting events has always really amazed me. So a 30-second ad during the 2006 World Cup final, they paid $129,000 for it, and in 2010, sorry, it increased to $389,000. So that's a lot of money that these big transnational corporations are paying to have their ads shown. But if you have a look, then the Super Bowl in America, the cost of their 30-second ads is $4 million, and that's what they paid Fox to telecast their ads. Just look at the table at the bottom first. The figures are out on how much money was actually generated from the FIFA World Cup. So they actually made $4 billion from that, and you'll see that by selling the TV rights, they got $1.7 billion. Marketing campaigns, so all those big companies like Coca-Cola, Visa and Sony, they actually paid FIFA $1.4 billion to be able to market, and then some other rights, $900 million. So you can see it's a massive revenue raiser when you have these international sporting events. So have a look at your little mind map, I guess, at the top, and it's actually showing you where all that money's come from. So it includes tickets as well, prize money. The teams actually had to pay to enter into these sports, and then obviously the fans who are buying the merchandise. So just pause for a minute and have a look at where all those funds have come from. Now, Coca-Cola was a huge sponsor of the World Cup. Figures that came out in the last 2 days have actually said that they don't think that the consumption of Coca-Cola in Brazil has actually increased due to their advertising. So I guess they're a little bit disappointed about that. So the other way that sports become more global is through the sponsorship of sport people. So we've got these big transnational corporations with a lot of money to spend, and they actually pay sports people to wear their clothes and use their equipment. So we've got some big names there. You've got Ronaldo, who's sponsored by Nike, and then Usain Bolt, who has a number of global sponsors who are all TNCs. So just have a look. This is Ronaldo's earnings for 2014. So he made totally $80 million, which is a lot of money. I'm sure we'd all love that. His salary just from the clubs and from actually winning games, $52 million. But have a look, endorsement. So that's what the sponsors are paying him, $28 million over the year to endorse their products. I think that's really amazing. The sports people actually gain really huge international recognition. They're recruited for teams all over the world. They can now move between teams and countries, which they couldn't have done without this increase in travel and technology. Sometimes selecting players from overseas with the same skill level can actually be a little bit cheaper and help to reduce the costs of the club. And once they do actually purchase players from overseas, it can increase their income for the club, because then all the supporters buy the merchandise for the person who they like, and then when they go and play for another team overseas, they actually then start following that team and purchasing their merchandise as well. So it's a big money-making operation. In the last few years, we've started to see social media make a huge impact on sporting events. So according to Twitter, they say that users sent 672 million tweets that related to the World Cup as a whole, which is absolutely amazing, 672 tweets. And that included 35 million just during the Brazil-Germany game. So you can see that people are connecting through social media, spreading the word about what's happening in sport, and you don't have to wait for the news to come on to actually find out what's happened. If you're a follower of Twitter or Facebook, people are always posting things, so you're finding really up-to-date information. So hopefully some of this sporting information has been really relevant for you. What I want you to do now over the next few days is to actually get in and watch some of the Commonwealth Games. I also want you to research and find out how many countries are involved and who are the major sponsors for this Commonwealth Games. If you've actually got access to Twitter, or your parents have, check out the hashtag Glasgow 2014, or there is also a hashtag Commonwealth Games, and just see what people are tweeting and how regular they're tweeting and how quick you can find out the information. Also, it'd be great if you could talk to your parents or grandparents about their sport experiences as a teenager. How did they watch or listen to sport, and how did they find out sport results? Because I'm sure it wasn't as quickly as what we can now. So that's it. Make sure that you do those little tasks for me, and I'll see you in class.